in a verbal altercation with somebody. I don't remember who it was, but it doesn't matter. And I was like, "What do you mean you got picked and you didn't? You decided not to go?"
Mm.
Those are our guys.
Hmm.
Those are people that have slept at our houses. Those are the people that we've been in their weddings and in some of their divorces. You know what I mean? Those are the guys that we bled and we sweat, and you decide that you don't want to go. You'd rather take a rear detachment job in the rear.
Exactly. And I
So,
think
yeah,
more than anything, and we saw some of that in 2003 because, like I said, nobody knew where they were going. So when we got called up, there was a lot of people that suddenly had an excuse why they couldn't go. And then when it turned out, oh, well, they're just going to stateside. Whoa, no, wait, no, I can do that. Yeah, I'll do that. You know,
yeah. I
and then on this one, it was well, I'm not going to go. It's like I. That's when you really find out who your brothers are.
So, what was the train up like, and then what was it when we first hit boots on ground?
Well,
Because what I think because this app will only allow us to do an hour at a time. So I think
uh,
we hit the hour mark, we'll just hang up and then we'll do a part two.
that'll work.
I mean, if you
That'll
have the
work.
time today.
Always, yeah.
Okay,
You
I
kidding
just
me?
want to make sure that because I want your full story to be told. And
That's
you know,
that's awesome.
all right.
Yeah.
So now tell us about train up.
So train up. We were sent to Camp Shelby, Mississippi. In again, we were called up in September. Um, and we all met up at the Marion Armory, and that's where we deployed from and reported to Camp Shelby, Mississippi. And you know, right away, I could tell that we were going to have some problems there. Um, and just quick illustration, I would say probably 80% of our classes began with the phrase, "All right, guys, so when you get to Iraq," and I'd look around and everyone else is just kind of like, "What the fuck?" And me, I'm the guy. I raise my hand, and yes, you specialist, Sarge. Quick question. We're actually not going to Iraq. We're going to Afghanistan. You know, and they would just kind of throw up their hands and be like, "Well, man, I don't have anything for you. I've never been to Afghanistan, but I'll tell you what. Go ahead and sign my sign-in sheet. I'll leave the slides up. Y'all can click through them if you want to, but y'all have a good day. I'm done." And that was literally probably 80% of our classroom training.
And unfortunately, or fortunately, that you're going into the shit. It's not like we're going back on the gates again. This is going to be
Exactly.
real world. This is going to be, 7.62 whizzing by your head, literally, if not other things. And they're just treating this like it's a game.
Exactly. And I will say that our senior leadership did some really good things. They were very sure to make sure we got a lot of trigger time. They made sure we always had plenty of ammo. They made sure that we were familiarized with our weapon systems. Um, and they did the best they could within the constraints of the environment that we were in.
Now I remember like when you were on my tank and you were my loader, you were the master with the 50 cal. If I had, you always had that thing running beautifully. So what was your weapon when you got chose? What were you carrying? What was your weapon of choice?
Well, initially during training, the I guess I kind of skipped a first kind of big step in the whole thing too, in mentioning that when we mobilize as an armor battalion or a combined arms battalion, movement enhanced brigade, whatever we were at the time, we were tankers. And as a tank unit, we have our own assets. We've got our own transportation. We've got our own mechanics. And so when we mobilized, they're like, hey, you're going to Afghanistan. We don't have tanks in Afghanistan. So now you're all infantry. And they took everybody who was not already a 19 kilo or combat once qualified, sent them to a 2-week infantry training course at Fort Jackson, I believe. And, and then we got to Shelby and it was like, all right, infantry tactics are us. Something completely different than, we'd even covered into AT a few months prior. We were doing tank gunnery and they knew we were going to a country with no tanks. So to say that they weren't taking it seriously, I don't know if I can say that, but there was definitely some disconnects with reality with the training. I don't feel that we were provided adequate training for the environment we were about to go into. But I do feel that because we had people with us like Sergeant Cheatham and Lieutenant Broadway, who happened to be my platoon leader and platoon sergeant, they definitely did the right thing and did the best they could. Broadway would come into the barracks at night and start timing people like, hey, Mahany, disassemble, reassemble, and function check your M4 right now. Go. And hit the stopwatch.
Cheatham, Lieutenant Broadway. I love Gene Heinman, and I just remember the good times that we had down at Savannah.
Yeah.
And so I always respected, Broadway. I thought he was a stand-up kind of guy. So, go ahead. I'm sorry.
No, you're fine. I second that 100%. Honestly, the best officer I ever served under. And when you put Sergeant Major Cheatham in the mix, I mean, that's a powerful combo right there. That's going to make sure that regardless of whatever else happens, my men are going to be taken care of and stuff is going to get done, and you need that. That's the most important thing. And we were very fortunate to have that backbone. And even though we were the equal opportunity platoon, we were discounted. They were like, oh, look at those guys. But, the joke's on them because we had some of the best leadership,
Yeah. So then once the train up, how long did you guys do the train up?
We reported in September and we left. We had terminal leave right before Christmas. And we had 2 weeks where we could go home. And then once we returned from that 2 weeks, we had like another week or so to go, and then we shipped out.
All right. I think this is going to be a perfect place to end this episode. We're going to do a part 1 and part 2. So, guys, if you're listening to this, the next episode is going to get real deep. It's going to get real. And so definitely check out part 2. And we're going to step where he actually steps off the plane into Afghanistan. And then we're going to let you know how it actually felt and from a real soldier's perspective of going into battle. So, Brendan, thank you so much for everything you do. I can't wait for the next episode. And I think people are going to be, they already have respect for you, but I think they're going to have so much more respect for you after we tell your story. All right, brother?
Awesome. I appreciate it. Thanks for just having me.
I'm going to send you the next request as soon as we hang off here.
Awesome. Sounds great. I'll be there.
Okay.